Welcome to the 2024 Olympic ping discussion. We've got DB here, and he is our ping king subject matter expert.
Although this is a ping pong chat.
No, ping
I
chat.
thought we were talking about the preliminary round of ping pong.
No, I mean, I get how that's confusing.
Okay, it's fine.
It wasn't intentional. This is not a psyop.
Oh, that's true. Dude, we got some people in here. I am surprised this shit's taken off like it has.
Just completely coincidental that it's ping pong, and ping. I don't know why. And it wasn't. I didn't intentionally make it confusing.
10 people watching?
Dang, that's big time. Big time. A lot of people catching on the replay, so whatever. I mean, it's
big.
It's not about it's not about like how many people this reaches. It's just about it not being a psyop.
Yeah, whatever, dude. What are we talking about? Let's get to it. I'm fucking bored already.
Sorry about that. All right, so I don't know if you're have you ever heard of Twitter?
Yeah, I have. I do Twitter.
Oh, you do Twitter? Cool. I'll have to see if you're on there. Anyway, I did a tweet. I think that's how the kids call it, doing a tweet. This morning. It covers kind of some weird information. So the gist of it is like Murder Sheet in one of their recent episodes.
Wait, who?
The Murder Sheet. They're podcasters. Have you never heard of them?
No, I thought, like, is it a piece of paper, like a sheet of paper?
I think it's an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, like okay. Then not like a bed sheet.
I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe it's like a Halloween costume kind of sheet, like if you're dressing up as a ghost.
Okay. My bad. I just wanted some background. Did they have some recent episodes about true crime?
Yeah. Some of their episodes are like tangentially related to true crime. It's hit or miss. But sometimes it's at least true crime adjacent a lot of the time. So one of their recent episodes, I mean, I think the larger premise is that they were really going after some dude that works for the defense team. They didn't seem to know what the guy's job title was or what the guy's actually did. But they seemed to be mad at him, and they seemed to be thinking that he was like doing some shady stuff. I think that was the larger premise. But inside of that story was like this more detailed story about these pings that were at the crime scene. So before we actually get it, like, there's the story that they're telling is kind of weird. Like, so as far as like how much are you going to trust this story? So if I can kind of like reverse engineer it, they got this story, this information. They got it from somebody that they used to call a quote unquote internet crank, but now he's a quote unquote source. So he just did that. He's in that internet crank to reliable source pipeline that is always super reliable. And then that guy had gotten this information, like this was like maybe on Discord, and he had gotten it from a couple other people or more. I don't know, somewhere between 1 and 4 maybe additional quote unquote internet cranks. That's what they call them. And then those people had gotten this information supposedly from this guy, this dude that works for the defense in some capacity, but nobody seems to know exactly what it is. And then, I guess that guy works for the actual defense attorneys. Although they weren't the defense attorneys at the time that it happened, so like they weren't like none of these people were really involved. So there's a lot of red flags there as far as how good of information this is to like come out and report. I was just talking and I lost DB. Dang. So I don't know if you heard anything. Um, so yeah, the reliability of this entire story is kind of up in the air of like this is this even real information? But the gist of the story is that there was this guy named Jay, and his phone was pinging at the crime scene on the day of the murder. But that it was confusing as to whether it was Jay, like the phone belonged to Jay, because the phone was actually registered to W, who was his stepdad. So kind of like with they've done this a number of times as far as using people's initials and then giving out more information on them. And like obviously, like in a true crime community, uh, people try to figure out what they're talking about.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, I'm back. I got attacked online.
Oh gosh, sorry to hear
Somebody
that.
DDoSed me, dude.
Man, we might need more mods in here to protect against attacks. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to make Mara mod.
Oh, don't
I
do that.
think. Don't do that.
Oh, my bad. No, do that.
Do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I miss?
Oh
About
man,
attack.
did you miss a lot of it?
No, I mean, I heard some of the end there where you're talking about somebody, and then you kind of mentioned JW. I see some people talking about JW in the chat.
Yeah, so I mean, the gist of the story is that there's a Jay that was believed to be in the vicinity of the crime scene, um, and his phone was pinging there, and but it's confusing because the phone was actually registered to W, who is a stepfather. And I was just saying, like in true crime community, like you know, you can't put a mystery out there without people trying to solve it. So, um, you know,
Yeah.
pe-
I mean,
so
they don't.
so I think people are kind of thinking that they got the answer here. So that's what my tweet is about, like who this person was, because it's weird that they're putting this guy kind of out there because he's a cop and he's like a very well known cop. Um, the guy's name is Josh Dissinger, and like he's kind of like his claim to fame is that like he saved Drew Yoder's life, like pulling him out of the Flora fire, which is like the other big case that like a lot of people tie to the Delphi case.
Oh, was that the guy we were supposed to say did the crime?
I don't. You see, I mean, though, I don't. Again, the reliability of this story to begin with, I don't think that they're saying this is involved in any way. They don't really give enough information to like make any determination. Like,
Why
there's
wouldn't they give? Why wouldn't they give more information?
well, I don't think they have more information. Like, I don't think they have like the makings of like why. Like, they also like really think that this is like discovery material. Like so, there's a lot of they're saying it's not. This guy isn't tied to the crime in any way. Like, and depending on what time his phone was pinging, there could be like a million explanations of why that's not suspicious in the slightest.
Yeah, for sure.
There were search parties, like I don't know, there's just so it was like later in the day, like yeah, maybe he was just there looking, so like big deal. Like, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this even sounds like discovery material in the first place? Because they seem to make a big deal about like this is like leaking discovery material. Like, I don't even know if it sounds like discovery material to me. It just sounds like some random piece of information.
Yeah, I mean, if without the additional context given for the like entire conversation, like who, um, you know, first of all, it sounds like they're talking about screenshots like somebody sharing screenshots.
Right.
So
Like this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of red flags because what you got, this is like fourth or fifth hand information. It's been like passed down from one person to another person to another person. You're I mean, you got Discord, which is like hell, that's a red flag all by itself. You got
right.
screenshots, which are like, okay, red flag. Any screenshot could be completely fabricated pretty easily. So
Easily.
it's not the best documentation or evidence of anything. Like, I think it can be supplemental sometimes. Like if you trust what someone's saying to you and they're reliable, and you trust that they haven't manipulated a screenshot, then it might help. But ideally, you want to back it up with like actual evidence as far as you know being able to go to the source. But
Well, getting
I think this is like screenshots from a Discord, and that Discord doesn't exist anymore. So like, there's not really any way to go verify or validate anything. You're just kind of floating what you hope is true. I don't really know.
well, even if it were true, I'm not sure like what the newsworthiness of that is. Like if it was a leak, like okay, so if these people were talking about this and then say that that was real, okay, I'm not sure that it's a big deal unless you actually verified that it was part of the discovery. Um, but yeah, I mean,
But
I get
does
it.
it sound like? I mean, do you think that sounds like discovery material? Because to me, it doesn't really sound like discovery material at all.
What
Like,
two letters and
no, just that. Well, I mean, I think they know who these people are. They know that it's this cop's phone, um, or we believe it's the cop. But they know who it is, whose phone it is, because they said that they did. Well, if you trust them,
yeah.
Um, but it sound like they probably did, since they have the initials and whatnot. Uh, and they know the relations, and they can give out enough information that people can figure out who these people are. So yeah, if his phone, if his phone is there and he's not related to the crime in any way, does it sound like discovery material? It kind of just sounds
Uh,
like random information. I don't know that it would be. It doesn't sound relevant to like Richard Allen being there.
yeah, but it could still be exculpatory if there's other people around the area. So it would still be part of
Gotcha.
the
Yeah.
discovery.
So
Well,
yeah, it could be then. Yeah.
it could be.
Gotta feed my cats. Hold on.
Anyways, well, he's feeding the cats. What's up, guys? Let me look at the chat here. You guys, this is my face, the face reveal. You guys are at the trial. Say what's up to me.
You're doing a face
I don't-
reveal?
Hey, you see it? Do you
Oh
not have
yeah.
a computer
Oh
screen?
yeah. Never seen him before. There he is.
Yeah. Don't block Mar. She's funny, even if she hates you. She's
What's
still
going
funny.
on? Is Mara being a problem?
No, Mar's never a problem. She's
Okay. Is she not is she not showing up as a moderator? Oh, I thought I added her.
not yet.
I don't know. It's not working. I tried. If it didn't work, then the YouTube just hates Mara.
Yeah, well, about like the if this is discovery or not. It's like, well, is it? Because I know there's a lot of questions about this at another some other documents, like whether or not it's work product or discovery. Like, is a attorney allowed to like build a some notes or some type of product um that they put together that's not part of discovery, but maybe includes some of the information or not include any of the information. If that's shared, does that mean that they violated discovery rules?
I'm gonna say that's maybe a gray area. I mean, yeah,
A
they
Gray
call it
Hughes area?
a what?
A Gray Hughes area?
Maybe a gray Hughes area. We could call it a gray Hughes area, um, or a gray hue area. I don't know. Whatever you call it. But like, yeah, if a an attorney like creates something that's called work product, and obviously they're building off the discovery, but it isn't discovery in and of itself, and it's not subject to the same like like ownership rules. Like an attorney owns their work product, but they don't own the discovery. So, I mean,
Travis says we need more details, and I'm gonna go with that.
who says we need more details?
Travis.
Well, more details about the pings. So yeah, let's talk about the pings. Like, so say this guy's phone is pinging at whatever time it's pinging, because we just nobody apparently has that information. Um, like how accurate is a ping, DB?
Well, I mean, based off from some of the filings by the prosecutor, it could be accurate or inaccurate. They could be anywhere from 500 feet to, I think what they say, 50,000 meters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I think that anything that's like 50,000 meters is like pretty not relevant. I don't think that you even look at that as being relevant. So obviously there's some relevancy to this for even to be brought up. I think. Like, is there like a common like general accurate level of a ping? Like how, like, I feel like it's got to have some level of accuracy. Like, what's typical? We're just losing DB left and right. He's being uh, targeted by online attacks. Anyway, I think that most likely this ping, like, at least when you talk about like it's in the vicinity of the crime scene, I think that's probably showing the phone. We're usually consider Ron Logan's property to be the crime scene. So that, like, I'm guessing that they looked at anybody that was on the property. Yes, Joanna, I can see chat, but I have a hard time doing multiple things at once. Is there something you need, Joanna? Joanna says, I have a feeling pings are accurate only when it aligns to their narrative. I think so too. And I think that also, like, there's some wiggle room with the language, as far as like sometimes people are talking, they call something a ping, but really they're talking about, they might be talking about GPS information as well as ping information. So it's always not clear unless it's like very clarified. What exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about just the ping? Are you talking about GPS information? Are you talking about like a geofencing type of information? Like you gotta be like very explicit as far as what you are talking about when you're talking about these things. Because if you just generically call everything a ping, like, you're not really capturing like how accurate or inaccurate it may or may not be.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the issues with the hostility between both parties. The prosecutor and defense, they don't want to just give each other any ground, and which is normal, but like I think there's a certain obfuscation in the filings. Like they don't want to be too specific because it's going to give the other party too much strategy and knowing how to combat and get a better expert to really talk about the specific issue. And I think that preserving that issue for trial and having the expert testify to what exactly they were talking about, and what their argument is with the pings, It just is going to give them a little bit of a leg up. The defense, especially because the prosecution is pretty clear about what they're talking about when it comes to ping and their stance on the accuracy of pings, as they are calling them. So I think there could be a lot. There could be a theory that the defense has. I think that wouldn't really know. Um, wouldn't really be known to the prosecution at the time of trial.
Right. Yeah. So like when it's GPS is like generally like really accurate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so when you're talking about I see Paradox's comment here. Yeah, geofencing is not the same thing as cell phone pings. That's correct. But the other thing about the pings, the way the prosecution uses them, they're talking about a pen register. And that's basically tracking a real-time location, reporting the real-time location of the device back to the tower. The tower reports it to the cell phone provider, and then you could determine where the person is in the world, right? That's
Gotcha.
that's how they use pen registers from an intelligence standpoint, and how they also use them in another famous case that's going on right now in Idaho. Travis says, "Yes, that's the problem. I have to know what term, what system, what cell carrier. I could tell you that Central Texas area, ATT, Singular, and a couple others, when they have a lost person, a ping, right, like a pen register, right, Travis? Yeah, generally considered to be within 500 meters. So they use pen registers to find missing people. Um, Generally, they don't want to use them to triangulate somebody or triangulate or just find somebody's location from like a CDR or like a cell site um, data analysis. So like they don't want to. It's more of a real time tracking tool, a pen register or a missing persons ping. Now, when you're talking about a geofence and where people's phones are reporting in a certain geographical region, it could be that they're looking at a specific tower or set of towers and to see if somebody's inside of that area and what information is being sent back to the towers to make a determination of where the person is.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Like, can you just find all the pings in an area? Or like if they're just looking at like Ron Logan's like property there, can they just find what was pinging there? Or would they have to know the phone first and then look at the pings? Or like how do they I mean, I know with like a geo fence like Warrant, you've got a lot more information. But if it's just pings, can they do the same thing without doing the geofence type of thing?
Well, I think the issue is we're not quite sure what the geofence is. I know that may be confusing, and other people might assume that they know that it is just a geographical fence of the area. However, it appears to me that they are actually talking about certain cell phone tower dumps in some of the filings and not necessarily a geofence. And my concern for that is that say they did a cell phone tower dump off the two towers that were supposed to be in Delphi in 2017. They looked at all the information that was coming and going from them. That wouldn't account for somebody that was there, that was inside of that area, connected to a tower, not connected to GPS, that was not getting a GPS ping back, was not being picked up by the geofence by any GPS tracking information, but uh they were handed off to a tower that was outside of those two towers in Delphi and reporting historical information to those towers. So there's a possibility where maybe he was there, but they did two cell phone tower dumps and not necessarily your traditional geofence, and uh, they were able to look at those cell phone tower dumps and determine who was there, but not actually look at all cell phone towers in the area of up to 60 some miles. Um, you know what I mean? Instead, they just looked at two cell phone tower dumps.
Okay. So USA Libertarian has a question, but I have a question first. What is a
Uh-huh.
cell phone tower dump?
Well, it's just everything that's connected to that tower. So, some people might say a geofence. Um, yeah, sure, it is a geofence if there's only in that area all those phones are connected to the single tower and all GPS data is in that area as well. Like let's just take out the GPS data, but like just the cell phone signal is going through one tower. They get all of that information and they make a determination what phones were connected and what their real-time locations were based off that tower. That's basically just what you would consider a tower dump. Now, sometimes they get 3 tower dumps and they use triangulation, to determine whether or not a phone or device is inside of those towers. It's not the same thing as a geofence, but, sometimes it's referred to it. The other thing too is, like, when you have jurisdictional courts when the courts are interpreting what a geofence is, you have different districts, and they're determining certain criteria, that may be considered a geofence in some circuits and not, um, others. Like, it may not be included, like, as a Fourth Amendment issue because of the case law in one area, so it wouldn't really be defined under that type of search warrant if they did it. So, it's like, if you've watched a number of high profile, criminal trials, murder trials that they use geofencing information, if you put all the names that they use together for things and how they refer to things, different jurisdictions and different agencies may just switch out a certain thing here or there. And if you try to compare them directly, it can be really difficult to understand because of the way they have kind of interchangeable language sometimes.
So with a cell phone tower dump, like, aren't you gonna? I mean, your starting point is gonna be like almost every single person, isn't it?
Well, like in
Is that,
Delphi,
yeah, like everybody's gonna be connected to these towers,
yeah, you
like
would think, right?
like every single person.
You would think. However, say you have a single cell phone tower dump, there's most of these towers have 3 sectors, which is like if you just take a pie and cut it in 3 different equal dimensions, usually the sectors are that size. So, and then it will tell by the time it takes for the signal to be sent out and returned by the device to the tower, how far away something is, if it can determine how fast the radio signal is transferring. So
So they can narrow it down initially, like
yeah, so say it's instant, one could assume in a hypothetical situation, if it's instant, the person's standing as close to the tower as they possibly could be, right? Now, if it's, you know, 1 second and it travels at, 100,000 miles per hour, the signal, right? There'd be some type of algorithm that would calculate the the distance and based off the speed of the signal and, determine an area with a probability of how likely it is to be in that area. So, like, if it's all in Delphi, there would be a range. It should pick up everybody in Delphi, but there could be people that, are further away and they would have less of a, uh, confidence variable. I think that,
gotcha. It's
the
like so you
ISP agent talked
just
about
go
that too, the
by the
confidence variables.
kind of like it's not like a geofence, but it is sort of like narrowing the window for things that are more likely to be in this general area,
Yeah.
and then start with that list. Okay. So what about USA libertarians? Question here. Did the defense get all the cell phone data that is available to the state?
I don't know. I mean, so say they get cell phone data, they've made it pretty clear in the circumstances of some of the early suspects, how could this be exculpatory information if they're not suspects in the murder case? Well, they ended up sending all that information over about those suspects because they probably determined that maybe it was exculpatory or it had to be provided in discovery. So I suspect if there was anything back then that they didn't provide immediately, they should have, and they might be wrong if they are not providing everything?
My understanding is that they're kind of playing like a word game as far as, and you like word games, you do the crossword all the
I
time.
love word games.
The so they determine, they have like a something in mind as far as what they consider exculpatory evidence. And I think when they consider it exculpatory evidence, if they consider any of it exculpatory evidence, I don't know that there's even anything necessarily that they really consider exculpatory. They might follow the discovery rules for that, but just to cover themselves, they made it clear that they were gonna, like, basically turn over everything, which is a good rule of thumb, just in case it's exculpatory, because you don't want it to end up being exculpatory and you didn't provide it, um, and then you've got like you know an issue down the road. I mean, you got a Brady violation issue because you had this exculpatory information and you didn't provide it. So just in case, they wanted to cover themselves, except like because they're not specifically considering it exculpatory information, they're not really following like the deadline rules on any of that other stuff. They're still providing it, but they're providing it like whenever they want to. Like they'll wait a year to provide something just because they don't consider it exculpatory. And then, like, no, even then you did end up providing it, so you've kind of remedied yourself against a Brady violation. It's probably not best practice. There seems like there are some discovery violations in what they've been doing. Um, a little bit more to the question, my understanding, as far as like, at least as far as geofence warrants go, and basically like those have historically only been like an available tool to law enforcement agencies specifically. And even the judge is taken out of the loop. They go to a judge for a geofence warrant. It's pretty generic, and then law enforcement just directly works with Google for this location information, and it kind of goes through like a process where they narrow down more and more information. Like, they'll see who all's there, and then they'll see if they want more information on these people, but it all happens like without like a judge's oversight, I believe. And then the other part of that is that, say Rick Allen says, I had my phone with me. I was still playing Candy Crush at home. Like, it'll prove that I was doing that. Like, that's where my phone was. Um, like, I want to do a geofence warrant on my house and prove that I was there. Like, you can't do that. You can't.
Well,
It's not something that's available for exculpatory measures. Like, you can't prove. Like you could theoretically prove where you were to prove that you didn't do a crime, but they don't do it. They don't allow for that. Like, you can't go to Google and ask them, "Hey, I want to prove that I was somewhere," so because I don't want to be committed. I don't want to be convicted of a crime and go to jail, and they'll tell you to pound sand. They don't do that. They just work with law enforcement. So you know unless law enforcement accidentally gets exculpatory information for you, like, you're not getting it.
Royal We said DB on 2 times sounds wild. That gives me jump scare nightmares. I talk slow
I
sometimes, and then I
believe it.
just instantly talk really fast, so it's really annoying to hear myself talk. I must be exhausting to listen to. I'm sure you're a big fan. Yeah, to say so with the warrant situation, there's certainly issues that can come from you having or so I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back. So you had mentioned something about the defense not, this is a tool for the prosecution. Really, it's a tool for the investigators, right? And it's like you said, it's a tool for law enforcement too, obviously. And they get to do it. The reason the defense doesn't get to do it is because are not part of the investigation, right? You have to find a suspect. You look for the suspect. The suspect then gets the defense attorney, and the defense attorney has to look at what law enforcement did to be able to determine whether or not they're going to take a plea or they're going to go to trial, or what their theory or their story of what happened is going to be at trial. When you are unable to collect that evidence, say a cell phone tower dump of a certain tower of an area where you suspect your defendant was, or your client was, if you're a defense attorney, you can't go back and get that sometimes because those things don't last forever. Sometimes they last 7 years. Sometimes they last less. And I think now in 2024, I think most companies are keeping their data for a lot longer. But in 2020, was certain data supposed to be deleted after 3 years? Maybe. There's As technology progresses and the storage ability increases and server size increases and the speed in which it can be stored, companies are going to be encouraged to keep their data longer, especially with machine learning and data modeling and stuff. Like, you get a lot of information from your historical data. So uh, I think, back then it uh, really wasn't as much of a benefit from keeping all that data.
So
And
what
then,
one thing you said is like, the defense teams, defense attorneys aren't investigators, and I guess I'd kind of push back on that a little bit. Like, there is a requirement. It's not even like, you know like ethically optional. Like, they're required to do like an investigation on every single case. It's just they have a different set of tools, and obviously their set of tools isn't equivalent to like law enforcement like tools. They can't go get a warrant, to go get information. They can do a subpoena. They can like try to depose people, and they can people can be required to talk to them and whatnot, and they can also just talk to whoever's willing to talk to them. So that they do an investigation. They're just not going to have like the really granular stuff. They're not going to be able to do a geofence warrant. They're not going to have access to go places that law enforcement can go, like, or anywhere close to it. But they certainly do an investigation. I think like a lot of people don't realize like how much that factors into like a case, and especially a case like this where there is a lot of stuff to investigate. They've got to look at everything, and then they've got to kind of vet it, and do their own, and like they're able to seek out whatever information they can any way that they can. And
oh, I see a good comment here. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, you want me to go?
Hmm.
Okay. The Royal We says, Google no longer complying with geofence warrants.
Oh,
Yes, that's
I
true.
one. I highlighted the one that says "What's up, Teddy?"
Well, what's up, Teddy? But yeah, so
Teddy.
that is something that's come out. I think in 2024 they released a press release on that. And I think they have just gotten a lot of bad press about their warrants, and the data that they're keeping really is not to the standard that they would like um, to be associated with people being put in prison as a private company providing that information. They've just gotten uh, a lot of privacy groups, a lot of um, anti-government or government owning your data groups, which there are a lot of, that have pushed back against them and try to sever the relationship that they have, because they really have had law enforcement has had quite a cozy relationship with big tech, as I'm sure we're all aware. But yeah, I think that's going to make it more difficult because it's been such a powerful tool, but it's often misused as well, because especially the pen register. There's a lot of cases where tracking someone's real time location can be a serious issue because it's used to reconstruct somebody's route or reconstruct somebody's cell phone tower handoffs or somebody's cell phone history, when in reality the pen register is more of an intelligence tool used to find somebody that's missing or for national security purposes. So yeah, I have some issues with that. And then there was something else somebody was saying up here.
What's up, Big Fish? Big Fish is saying she doesn't get notifications,
Big Fish is a dude, I thought. What?
or he. I don't.
Or
What?
she?
Well, I don't know who any of these people are.
They.
Honestly,
Let's just hit him with a they and just let's keep it at that, you know?
we'll
Okay,
call
let's see. We got some comments here that we didn't talk
call
about.
everybody they. I think maybe I'll just do that.
The real Jason Voorhees says, Libertarian, I feel you are disingenuous in your skepticism often. This is not even a logical argument, pure speculation and flailing, if you will. What is USA Libertarian flailing or is this
I
conversation
feel
like
like,
flailing?
I feel like this is just some chat beef.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to flail on you, buddy. My apologies.
Um,
33 people in chat. That's impressive.
really?
Yeah.
Then it's time to flip the banner.
Oh, well, Luis says multiple reports have been cited. Okay.
I'm sorry, Teddy. I'm so sorry.
Hmm.
So yeah, the thing, I mean, the with the geofence warrants, I guess, yeah, the Google not wanting to do that. I mean, it's also like a huge Fourth Amendment kind of like sketchy area. Like, like you can view it like in a couple different ways. Like if you're looking at like say put your geofence around like a specific crime scene area, and one person shows up there. Okay, like that's almost like the equivalent of being like caught on a camera. Like that's that's the person right there. But like, if like you put your fence around an area and you got 20 people there, like you don't have like probable cause to go look at get all the information on these 20 people. Like, you're getting their information without respecting their, you're violating their Fourth Amendment rights by looking at all of them, because clearly they aren't all involved. There might be one person in that 20 people, but what about the other 19 people? Like, just fuck their rights. Like, I think that's like a major issue for them as well, because like I think that's a much more common situation than the one person in the area that you get end up with a bunch of maybes, and the only way that you're gonna like get to the bottom of it is really like drilling down into each one of them. But like you're not supposed to be allowed to do that for all 20 people.
Well, there's a case, United States versus Carpenter, that is like the first major geofence case. There's a lot of analysis on the Fourth Amendment in there and the innocent bystanders. So it's like, what is a reasonable probe for the safety, for public safety, right? And that case breaks it down and says basically there is some expectation that if somebody was in this area, there's a reasonable amount of probing the government can do, and somebody's digital footprint based off of that case is not considered protected. So it's there's other there's other little I'm sure a million other cases that could affect it in different jurisdictions and stuff, but that's one that gives a lot of the analysis of it. And it is interesting to think about like whether or not um somebody just an innocent bystander should have any intrusion. And I think that's kind of why Google has
Well, yeah,
pushed
that's
back
that's right.
recently.
Like, regardless of like what the precedent and the law says, like, you know, you've got a corporation that actually has the information and can, or you know, they've only been willing to go along with this up to now. You totally rely on their cooperation with even getting it in the first place. So if they shut it down, whatever their concerns are, regardless of what the law says, They can just not
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and if anyone's following the Idaho 4 case, this is one where there's a lot of a lot of the cases riding on how cell phone information and cell tower data is interpreted. And so there's been some pretrial hearings on it, and it is really interesting when it comes to how one could look at cell phone data with bad faith, perhaps, to make it seem like somebody was up to no good, when in reality, that's not really what the cell phone data says.
So they're supposed to be covering some of this, like they're covering the motion to eliminate in the upcoming hearings, and at least some of that was related to some cell phone stuff. Do you think that that's going to be like a significant part of like what they kind of have to hash out and like argue about?
Mm, I think so. Um, the issue, I think the main issue that they're going to spend a lot of time on is probably the third party culprit admissibility, and then maybe some of the admissibility of the statements in the correctional facility. But I am not sure about them getting back and forth on this, because ultimately this issue is about excluding it because it was provided late, and I think that the judge will the judge can let it in regardless of how late it is, as long as they find it necessary for the investigation or the case, and that it's not prejudicial, but also if there was an issue, that the late reporter faces some type of penalty for, um, turning it over late. So, like in the Alec Baldwin case that just recently happened, you guys may be aware of, the there was a late, they provided some important information late, and in that case, the judge overall decided to dismiss the case, but, she could have also just sanctioned them by, taking away some of the charges. So,
Gotcha.
they could do as a small sanction and say, "Hey, this is gonna get let in, but you can't argue it here or there."
Right. And we saw this defense team, like Digital says, why is the defense having to ask for the cell data to be given to them? They should have had that a year and a half ago. And yeah, I think we've seen that with like all sorts of miscellaneous information that, you know, like why are they only getting like a year later? Like there were supposed to be like deadlines. And the defense team did ask for sanctions regarding some of this stuff. And some of their sanctions were like, we very specifically want to like not have this evidence entered in because that's what the sanction should be for, like that's what the penalty should be for like how what you did. So I don't I don't recall if that was specifically ruled on or if it's one of the things that's like coming up in the hearings. I'd have to go back and check. But yeah, when you bring up the sanctions, that we've seen that in this case where they've asked for sanctions against the prosecution, and like you've got like a lot of leeway as far as like what you request. Like you can request almost anything. Like hey, I want the prosecutor to do a handstand because
Right.
or I want this charge dropped, or I want this evidence omitted. Like it doesn't mean you're gonna get it. It doesn't mean that's realistic to ask for it. But like can't theoretically ask for just about anything.
Well,
Um,
a good example is the Lori Daybell case. There was, some issues with discovery, and the judge in that case, decided that the sanction that was appropriate was taking the death penalty off the table.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it seems like it'd be a lot more preferable if they just like you know if they've got rules, they want to just kind of follow the rules.
Yeah, follow the rules, guys.
But yeah, I mean, I think that like some issues with like turning over discovery like are kind of like would be expected when you've got this amount of discovery. Like you would expect maybe some issues, but like there seems to be like a lot of issues. Like how hard is it to actually turn over everything?
Yeah, and Travis here is talking about the New Mexico case against Alec Baldwin. He says the state's special prosecutor was playing cute with the discovery and Brady material. You could tell the court thought the prosecutor was being cute based on the court's questions for the witness, starting with, "Was Morrissey at that meeting?" Yeah, the judge in that case was very inquisitive also to the witnesses, uh, and was really trying to get down to the bottom of what was going on. It's really it's just an insane case in general.
Gotcha.
Paradox says he believes this gentleman is kind of in a bad spot in his opinion. Well, I I sometimes think that, but man, when it really comes down to it, do you believe that? Do you really think he's in a bad spot? Because there's really no indication that he really is in a bad spot. And I think that it is I think he should be in a bad spot, but I don't see why
I think
given everything that's
I
happened.
think it depends on what you mean by that. Like obviously you'd probably rather be the prosecution than the defense. Like if you had to pick
Yes.
like your situation that you're in, like I think he's in a preferable situation. I think that like I think he's been put in a bad spot or I think it's like very plausible or likely that he's been put in a bad spot because you know like
He's
how much do
certainly
you
been he's
much do you
certainly had to look at some things that he probably did not expect to come
right
out. But yeah, go ahead, sorry.
but so like how much he's a busy guy he's got to prosecute like every case how much are you really looking at this case like immense detail when there's no arrest, there's no suspect, there's no arrest, like there's that's it's in the hands of law enforcement and investigators. They get you the suspect and like you know then the prosecutor kind of like gets involved like so like how much was he aware of before this they brought in Richard Allen, like was he even aware that like all these interviews had been deleted, all this tape had been deleted, like when did he learn that? And like when you learn that, aren't you like, well, fuck me, like why did that, jeez, why that, like you guys never told me that. Like I think it's been like
Well,
not a stretch to think that like he's had some surprises like dropped on him,
absolutely.
and he's got to be like, you got to be kidding me, like that's probably not good. Like I mean, I'll try to do the best I can with that, but like guys, you're hurting me.
Yeah. I think that that situation could be explained by they were trying to get the the interviews from who they believe were suspects. They asked for the recordings. The FBI did not record. They do not record interviews, and when they actually got the summary of that interview back from the FBI, they seen that it said that it was recorded though, but by the department the department's interview room recorder, not a personal recorder of one of the agents. So then they asked about where is this recording, and then that's when I think the prosecutor had to go and say, "Well, where is it?" And they ended up, uh, just finding out about that. He ended up finding out about it, but I think that he could have known about it, but I think he probably his first day on the job, and it's probably not something they told him. Oh, thank you, Travis.
Right. Like, yeah, I feel like that he's definitely like run into some situations that he wasn't expecting. So like, so yeah, I mean, is he in a bad spot? Like he's been put in a bad spot probably a number of times by just like, the reality of the situation. And he didn't cause that to happen. He's not responsible for the preservation of evidence. If law enforcement deleted stuff, destroyed stuff, let stuff spoil, like that's obviously not his fault. So I think he's even put in a bad spot a number of times. But I think overall, like he's in a bad spot compared to the defense. I wouldn't really say that that's the case. He seems to have some preferable like relationship with the judge for starters.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, a little
Well,
bit.
well, for
But
one, he's the state, right?
right, yeah.
So, yeah, that's it to be given that the state is going to have some leg up on a defense attorney, um, and a defendant, especially an indigent defendant. Um, they and this this court has seemed to really look at the one party as the more credible party when it comes to some of the filings and the pretrial stuff, and I think it's going to get worse. And I think that they're gonna have a very long time to voir dire the potential jurors, and I think that that's a really important part of the trial, and the judge has a lot of control over that part of the trial as well. So
Yeah, like she granted their opening mini statement, which I think was like kind of like a really really minor ask. Like,
extremely, yeah.
like a win's a win, but like it's not anything major. And then yeah, you're right. She's gonna have a lot of like there's gonna be a lot of control of like what you can and cannot say in this statement. Like this isn't a free for all 5 minute opening statement to your voir dire as far as like you can't just say whatever you want. You're gonna have to play within the rules, and this motion in limine is going to be a huge part of that. Huge part of that. Um,
If it
I,
is, like, I hope it is. I hope it's a huge part, but
they're
if
going to have to make decisions on like what's in the motion in limine. They're going to have to, and that's a state filing, so you're going to get it's some decisions. Like it might wipe off everything off the table, but at least they're gonna know at that point. Like at this point, they don't have any idea what they can and can't bring in as evidence and witnesses in a trial. Like no clue. Like if
sure,
you take all this off the table, like okay, well then you're gonna have to work with whatever's left.
it looks like Luis is talking about Galen not not telling the reporter about the I don't know. Galen said she was manipulated by her friends.
This chat's
Also,
all over the place. This is supposed to be
oh,
about pings.
you're trying to ping that blunt. You know what I'm talking about?
The ping discussion. You guys are
Not a
talking about
blunt
like
discussion.
thanks for the update. I didn't realize you granted that already. Did state join in motion for 5 minute pre-opening statement for deer? I didn't see anything from the
I didn't see
state.
that either.
I don't remember if the order. I want to let me see if I can
Pull it
actually.
up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I
Go ahead.
don't even,
Hey,
I don't
chat. How's it
even
going?
know how to find anything, dude.
I don't even know how to read.
Got
Jen,
30,000
Jen
screen.
here. Hey, I'm gonna talk to the chat. You find that stuff, okay?
Okay.
Jeez, fiend. Okay, so Jen here. Hey, change your name if that's your full name. Don't use your full name on YouTube. Nick is not a good guy. I've had that opinion long before the girls were killed. Holling said it herself. You calling her a liar? No, but I got you. I didn't mean to go off the rails. Pings. Oh, you're the good Travis. It's all good. TT. What's up, TT? Digital. What's up,
So
digital?
so the order says counsel may present a 5-minute mini opening to the jury panel prior to each round of voir dire. So I think that probably applies to the defense because the defense was the one asking it, but counsel's kind of, I mean, I guess that's counsel's defense. This counsel's not referring to the prosecutor, is it?
No, I wouldn't think so since they didn't file it, but I think
Right.
maybe she's just saying it's fine for both of them.
I mean, she's definitely saying it's fine for the defense. Yeah, I don't think the state has made the same request. I don't. I mean, what I've heard is that like this is something that's a little bit specific to Andy Baldwin's firm, and that he really likes to do this sort of thing. It's not
Yeah.
unheard of, and it's kind of a minor ask. In a lot of cases, it makes sense, just to kind of like streamline the process, because once you give your 5-minute spiel, like there's a bit like there's a groundwork for like the the rest of the process. So I mean, I don't even think that like anybody really dislikes it because it kind of like makes the process a lot easier when they know what the heck this case is about. Um, and you've given them this this background summary. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's not like this always happens. Like I think it's a niche type of a thing that certain attorneys like to do, and let the rest of them just do the process like normal. Um,
I've seen Louise say multiple reports a couple times, but I don't know what specifically maybe the ping reports, but I don't know. Travis said, I read that as each side can give the spiel if they wish, it does make it a lot easier. Is spiel a legal term? Is it Spiel versus California? Is that the case?
yes, Spiel versus Washington.
Oh, Washington. Excuse me. Multiple reports for phone data. Okay. All eyes. The letter NM sent to Galen Rose has nothing to do with people who've covered the Florida tragedy. Oh, she said it. I believe it.
Yeah, I think so. Travis, yeah, I think that's the counsel. Travis, I guess, is saying that counsel applies to both sides, but I would still be surprised if or like not surprised, but a little bit, maybe a little bit surprised if the prosecution even took up that opportunity, just because it's not something that most people do. Like it's just they
Yeah.
just they just don't do it. But
Don't do it.
if one side's doing it, yeah, well, why don't you take the opportunity to do the same thing? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. They might not even find it that beneficial to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so they want, I think what the defense wants, this is a total guess. I have no clue. I wrap burritos at Chipotle.
Yeah,
Um,
we all know that.
what is the purpose? It's like maybe you throw some of your theories out there and just like watch the jurors um reaction to it, see if they have some visceral reaction, see if they hail to Odin. I don't know. Like you're just trying to
I mean,
get your theory out there first.
probably like they're like a fair amount of like one of the things they would want to include. Like I don't know if you're really going to be able to include it depending on how the motion eliminate goes, but I think that's definitely one piece that they have in mind. Um, you know, I mean, like I don't know. You can pack a lot of information into 5-minute talk. You can pack a lot of information, and I think that they just when there is a lot of information, you want to get that across for starters, like so that like the questions that narrowing down the jury like resonate more with them. So I mean, there's a lot to unpack in this case, and potentially far more than what we're privy to even now. And right now, we know that there's a lot to unpack. So
Yeah.
I think they just want to like communicate information to the potential jurors and just make sure that they know it. Yeah, and I think that like if any of the third party stuff comes in, yeah, I think they really want to like be like, look, like you like if you're pagan, if like you've got family members that are pagans, like this is gonna be really important, and like you might not be able to be biased, like unbiased in this sort of case. Like I have no idea what they're gonna pack into this thing, but I think that it's probably some of that type of stuff, background stuff.
Yeah. I
Like
see.
how familiar are, like this is going to be the case regarding like a firearm, like what is your like experience with firearms and stuff like that, like that's going to be stuff to really like drive home, like you need to be transparent about these things because of how important they are to the case. So like if you've got some sort of bias or like you know some reason that you can't be impartial on this, you know like we're emphasizing to you now how important that is. And so like you can rule yourself out as a juror if if you're not able to be impartial on these specific topics.
Who else in the chat's done jury duty for a felony?
I don't know of too many people that have.
Anyone? We have 38 people.
I think Royal We makes a good statement. Like the screening question should be if they've ever listened to Murder Sheet, and that might be a big piece too, because there's this isn't the biggest case. This isn't Karen Reed. This isn't Alec Baldwin, but like there's a fair amount of like you know true crime coverage and YouTube coverage and podcasts and whatnot about this case.
Yeah, the Royal we
It,
asked, are you still planning on selling burritos outside of the courthouse? I did say that. I said that I was thinking about doing that. I do want to announce it, that I will not be able to do that. I was sent a cease and desist letter by the company I work for, and they said that I had a no compete clause, and me making, you know, uh, having a good that is protected. I can't do that. I can't make burritos outside of the courthouse, or else I'll be stealing intellectual property.
CJ was going to smoke
Unfortunate.
ribs, wasn't he, or something like that?
No, I think Dan said he was gonna do a cookout. Yeah, no, CJ said I think that was he was gonna cook ribs in French lick or something. No, he said courthouse, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
courthouse.
gonna.
He's going to take his smoker out there. I don't know if he is still planning on
No,
doing.
ain't that nice? I think that'd be nice. That's a nice thing.
I mean, I just think generally I don't know if it's an appropriate place to do like tailgating activities, but I do think that like
Yeah, it's definitely not. Don't
I don't know.
don't tailgate a murder trial, guys.
Right. I think like there's probably some room for like I mean I'm sure they'll let like a local company do it or whatever, but like there's probably like some wiggle room to like do a food truck because there's gonna be like a lot of people and news crews like in that vicinity uh of the courthouse, like, and they're gonna need to eat. Hey, do you want to rethink that about the burrito thing?
Why?
I'm just thinking like, dude, it might be able
You
to
think
make
I should
a lot of money. Like,
start my own burrito shop there? I was still under an ADA for 2 years after, even if I quit. There's just too much intellectual property that I handle in making burritos that, it's corporate espionage. It's just how it goes, dude. This is what
what
they do.
what about what about this? What if it's not
Go on.
burritos? What if we do crunch wraps? Because Chipotle don't do crunch wraps.
That's a good
You don't have
point.
any intellectual you know
I'll have to talk to Sleuthy Goosey about it.
ethical issues as far as selling crunch wraps because Chipotle don't sell crunch wraps.
It's a secret menu. It's a Chipotle Crunchwrap menu. That'd be
Fuck, dude, are you dude? If that was true, I'd be so mad that I couldn't get a crunch wrap every time I've been there.
Ooh, Travis got a long one for us. Also, want to explain to them that there are no right or wrong answers, just honest ones. This is the type of case people can't be fair, and it's perfectly fine to say that. Prospective jurors. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you just want to lay the groundwork of how important like some issues are and like to really focus on that as far as whether you're able to be an impartial juror in the case. And, who knows? I don't know if they'll use their whole 5 minutes, but, I'm sure there's a number of things they really want to emphasize to people of like how absolutely vital it is on this particular subject. Uh, like you like if you got strong feelings about Odin, like this is not the case for you. If you have strong feelings on maybe you have strong feelings on guns, hey, this isn't the case for you. I don't know.
Oh, this is a Biden issued a ban. Well, I think he did issue it, but actually they're challenging it already. But I don't think they won. I don't think the plaintiff won the TRO. So you can. So the. Never mind. I'm just getting way too into it. Um. Yeah, I know they're trying to ban him, but
Sleuthy Goosey says cheese fries.
yeah, why not? I could do cheese fries. It's just a little cheese fries are just a little unnecessary. You know what I mean? You got fries, like,
Agree
those
to
are great, and then you
disagree.
put nacho cheese on it. Are you thinking nacho cheese fries are kinda more
My preference is nacho cheese on the side. Like I think nacho
as an
cheese
option?
is the S tier dipping sauce for French fries.
Ish okay. No, I could see that.
I mean, I don't know. You got a couple of good options, but like, man, nacho cheese as I don't really love it poured all over the top of stuff, but like on the side, like,
Cheese fries are the best. I mean, like, cheese is amazing, fries are amazing. Add
right.
them together, it's a bit indulgent. I mean, I could eat a couple of them. I like
Are
that.
you, hold on, DB, are you American?
I don't know, am I?
Are you not American?
Am I in America right now? I don't know. Am I
Because
somewhere in the Pacific
if
Northwest,
you're saying like
tracking through the woods?
I think cheese and fries is too indulgent. I mean, to me, that doesn't sound American or even Canadian. Like, are you in Argentina?
I'm off the coast of Cyprus.
Fuck, I knew it.
I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, nachos, over cheese fries. Yeah. Listen, it's just what I thought about there for a second, guys. I get it, you know? I have a feeling there's a lot of Midwesterners in this chat that
Oh no, Sleuthy, cheese and ketchup like mixed together.
that is
No,
unbelievable.
I don't know. That's also like the ketchup and mayo mixed together. I like I like actually like mayo with like some steak fries. Like I'll have some with ketchup or some with mayo. If you got nacho cheese, even better. But like mixing any of those together, okay.
I'm not in Argentina. I am not Cremos, guys. I am not Cremos.
I thought Cremus was from Chile.
Chile. He's a Chilean. Uh, yeah.
I
Sorry.
should know because I'm Cremus.
Oh, you are Cremos?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
The Dutch dip him in peanut butter. This is yeah.
They did French fries, Dutch French fries in Dutch peanut butter.
I would have guessed mayo, but KO says peanut butter.
No one here knows Cremos. Oh, we got a real Cremos head over here. Our bad.
Poutine, I think, is French. So this person is here because of the unconfusing title about it being the Olympic ping discussion.
Oh, we might have some real big ping pong heads like in here, just waiting for it to kick off. And I apologize. You're on the wrong stream, guys.
I don't know. This is getting off topic because we're talking about food. DB, are you bridge guy?
I am unequivocally not bridge guy.
Okay.
I am not. I'm
Okay.
absolutely not bridge guy. which I said absolutely right there, right? Which is one of the 8
Right.
words.
Is one of the words. What they say.
Don't even get me fucking started on that shit, dude.
I like it, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
I
because
know you're a
you
skeptic.
believe in werecats and you're Mr. "Oh, I don't know, man." So that shit is perfect for you, dude.
I think it's interesting. I wouldn't put too much weight. I think I wouldn't put too much weight in it. Like I definitely wouldn't like. I don't know, but I think it's interesting. I think like I have a degree in psychology, so I think that like more interesting than talking about it is just kind of like how much are people like like subconsciously like processing this type of stuff. Like are people picking up on that just naturally? Because I think to some degree they do, but I think it's interesting to like go back and look at it and see how people might be like processing this when you like they're not even thinking about it, but when you think about it, like is that registering like in as far as what people are thinking, like someone that's keeps like doubling up words or using the same, like using absolutely over and over again. Is that registering like in what they're picking up? Because I think it kind of is.
I think there's probably 3 people that know what we're talking about, Royal We being one of them. We're talking about never a truer word, if you guys are unfamiliar. Um, it's
Yeah,
it's,
he's
uh
a truer word something on Twitter, but yeah, he's a nice guy.
Oh, okay, well, that is nice. That's really nice that you think that. Uh, but if you guys have ever seen that type of stuff, it's called, statement analysis, and I just find it strange. It's my personal anecdote here on it, my personal opinion. It's like you're watching the trial. It's like the thing with Jennifer McCabe, and he's like, "Well, you can see that X, Y, and Z behavior and statement is why she's being dishonest or deceptive because we know XYZ." Well, yeah, you're watching the trial, dog. Like, you're taking some other facts in, and, like, you can't just extrapolate based off of what somebody says and say it's because of a word or because of, someone's behavior, and that's the tell when you're also taking a ton of other information in about the history of this person's testimony, and also, like, people are neurodivergent. Stop assuming that everyone acts the same, like, people are like, "Did they make eye contact?" Some people don't like making eye contact. It's just the way that they exist in society. They maybe if not even they're not even neurodivergent, maybe they just don't like making eye contact, you know? So, if that's a tell for somebody,
I
that's
agree
just
with you. I agree with
strange.
you on that part because I would be in trouble with like a lot of this stuff. That would be
Oh,
me.
I bet you do
I bet
not make eye
I'm not
contact.
making eye contact. Dude, oh fuck, dude. Like, I would never be able to take a polygraph test. Like, I'd have like like empathetic guilt. Like, if somebody else is in trouble for something, I immediately like start like freaking out about it. Like,
What is
I'm
that
not
called?
like. I don't
Fruden
know. Is it called
Schroeders or
something?
some shit?
Because like I've got that. Like I've had it since I was a kid. Like if somebody else was getting in trouble in class, man, like I would just start like sweating, like I did something wrong, and obviously I didn't because like I'm like that person is the one getting in trouble. So,
Yeah, I
but
hate third person embarrassment.
right,
Unless they're like an evil person, love it. But even sometimes, like people that I just dislike, if they do something embarrassing and I notice it, it gives me the chill. Like it just gives me
same.
the icks.
I have the same sort of thing where like I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I'm just like too empathetic and just like I feel for whatever they're going through, but like I'm feeling it myself. So like, if they're embarrassed or getting dressed down or something, I'm like, fuck, dude, I was in boot camp and it'd be the same sort of shit. Like somebody else is getting screamed at and like I
Yup.
was in fine and in the clear. Man, I felt terrible about that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, boot camp, yeah, something that sticks with some of us, you know?
It was
Uh,
always like that. There was
yeah.
always somebody fucking trouble, like a
Well,
lot of trouble.
Sleuthy says so Fiend basically gets the whole car search. That's like what people do, or or like you made a furtive movement in the car. So like I thought the subject threw drugs on the ground, or I thought they were, going for their gun or weapon or something. And so I think that the behavior and how it's read by people in the criminal justice system, juries, even true crime fans, the people that consume the content, I think it could be a really it could bias us.
There's another channel that does the statement analysis stuff. I forget what it's called, but he did a lot of uh, the Karen Reed trial. What the fuck is it called?
Yeah. Oh, they
Uh,
said absolutely. That means they're lying. They said
truth,
I'm telling the truth.
truth revealed. And this guy like was uh, a Homeland Security investigator, and he did this for like Homeland Security. Like
He was an
he
eye checker.
it's very specifically statement analysis. Like they probably can just give him a transcript and he would go through it and like highlight it and be like it's highly likely that they're lying here, here, and here's my report about like what they were lying about. And like he did he does this for like everybody that was on, like everybody that did testimony in the Karen Reed case. And it like, I mean, it, I'm a little bit skeptical about like how much all of it means, and especially like some of the narrative that he builds around it. Um, but I mean, you gotta believe that like there's something to it, because like, I mean, he literally had a job doing this. They must have found some value in hey, like in these interviews, like tell us if this guy's lying to us.
Well, I see that somebody said it was Schadenfreude. Thank you, KO and LED. That is what I was thinking of. I really fucked that one up. Yeah, so I agree. I that does happen, but like say this guy, right? He's reading a transcript of a wire of someone speaking Pashto that was translated by a non-native Pashto speaker, and now he's reading it, and now he's analyzing it. It's like there's so many cultural layers, and it's just I get like sometimes they say stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that's cool. I just think there's a lot more to this, and I'm not saying that it's like yeah, I'm not saying it in an elitist way, like, it's not admissible in court, just like a polygraph isn't. So, I just think
Yeah,
it's used as a
I
tool to
yes,
only
it's an
take
investment.
people's rights away, just like it's, like, used as a way to get people to confess or, like, to get people to, take a plea, but in reality, the effectiveness of it in court, it can't even get in. But it may, like, have some effect pretrial or it's just I'm not prepared to like really give a whole thesis about what I think about it, but anyways,
It's the same sort of stuff as like like profiling and whatnot. They're tools, but like they're limited in scope, and like you gotta it doesn't take the place of actually like the proper investigation. It might like lead you in the right direction on something, but it's not on its own. It isn't going to stand alone like ever.
well, I last thing I'll say on it, I think that that could be true, but it can also confirm because it's not a real science. It's gonna confirm your own bias, just like a lie detector does. When somebody says, "Hey, take a lie detector," and you pass, you're a psychopath or you're a sociopath. Of course, you passed. It's just a tool for them to either, it's just a way that they can support or deny whatever they want to support or deny. So
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like again, like I think the first live we did said don't talk to the cops, and for the love of God, don't get yourself an attorney. Don't talk to the cops without an attorney. Like if you have to talk to them at all, like just don't talk to them.
If you can't afford an attorney, you should hire an executive burrito architect.
Yeah,
They
but
may
also
be able to help you.
don't go take a polygraph to like, dude. Nothing is ever gonna like be helpful for you. Like I think that's just the major misconception that like saying or doing anything is ever like gonna be helpful for you personally. Like, and that's who you got to look out for. You got to look out for you. Like, so it doesn't matter like if they're gonna find it helpful. Yeah, but they could also just like what if you're completely truthful on a polygraph and you're just a weirdo and you they say you fail it.
Yeah, they don't even and
Like
see
it
Kel
doesn't matter that you were actually telling the truth. It just matters of whether you passed or failed. Like you don't know whether you're gonna pass or fail.
right. Kelt said, isn't the test only as good as the person administering it?" So on that, this is a topic that I think about a lot, and I hear people talk about a lot in this space. That it's like you would think this whole idea of, well, you could pass a polygraph if you're a psychopath or if you're a sociopath or if you really believe what you're saying or if you put a pin in your shoe and press on it and get into pain, that would mean that the instrument is accurate because it would really determine whether or not somebody's biological response actually was measured correctly. It's just wrong, like both ways. It's wrong. It's just not accurate at all, and it hallucinates the results. And like if it was accurate, then they could recreate and test it, but there's no tests proving that you could do something such as you know uh lie, but test people that are sociopaths that are diagnosed with personality disorders and see if they could beat it, but it's just not realistic. So
I agree. Like the you're not going to get any benefit of.
that being said, just do the polygraph. Fuck it, it'd be fun, dude. It's
I
not a
mean,
big
yeah, it
deal.
might be fun. It'd
See
be
if you
fun.
could pass. Did you
See if you
do it?
get
Maybe. Just fucking give it a
strapped
shot.
down, and then they're going to say you're lying, and they're going to like turn your house over and plant evidence, and then you go to jail forever. So yeah, fun times.
Yeah. Go to jail forever. You could get a lot of reading done.
Sure, yeah,
Uh,
dude. Hey,
you could
hey,
write a book.
free rent. Like, I mean, there's some upside.
Free rent. Yeah. You get to express your artistic creativity if you're into that.
Celt.
22nd. Oh,
I don't know what Celt thinks I'm not contributing enough to your show, DB.
oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. It's my show, but he's a guest and I didn't mean to disrespect him.
I'm gonna pull a Gray Hughes and just turn this shit off.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
take your ball with
you
you.
guys are complaining too much. You're not like donating any money. Like what the fuck? Like what am I even doing here?
This is by far the least funniest episode that we've done so far. My bad, guys.
I'm
I
sorry.
was I
Yeah.
was joking around a lot more these last two episodes, and I got real boring, dude.
Oh, there's information and stuff.
Yeah, true. Any Antifa attacks lately? What's going on with that? No, speaking of
Believe it
Antifa,
or not, I'm not privy to the Antifa schedule of attacks. They never invite me to the meetings. Louise is way behind. She doesn't even realize this is DD's show.
well, now everyone's put on notice.
Louise is catching up very quickly.
Oh, Dan isn't into it. That's a bummer, dude. Let's see how long we can just stay silent on this. You think we can count to 10 in our heads?
What? Yeah, let's do 10 seconds of silence.
Okay,
And
let's go.
in the meantime, I want everybody in chat to put who you think is somebody else.
Yeah, and then also report this video. It's horrible. Okay, we're gonna count from 10 right now.
Okay, go. I lost count.
Yeah, so did I.
Um,
I don't hate you, Elise.
no, nobody did what I asked them to. We're like you're supposed to like we were on a good roll here. Like Mar said that she was DB. Like that's what we need here.
Oh, okay. I see why you wanted to do that. Ian X says Judge Gall is Jerry Holman in a wig. That's interesting. That's an interesting
Am I
theory.
allowed to have so many moderators? Because I keep trying to make people moderators and they don't show up as moderators. Maybe I just need to refresh.
I think you need a pro subscription.
Really?
Is that what it is?
Really?
No, I'm kidding, man.
Oh, I thought that you could just have as many
Relax.
moderators as you want. I had no clue. I mean, this is what I'm saying. All eyes. I'm not even the wrench giver because I tried to make it all y'all mods. What's going on here?
Fake wrench.
I don't know why this isn't working. It's annoying. I feel like it's just not working.
Okay.
It's
Well,
not.
we'll figure it out.
We don't have moderators, so
We got some. Is Mara a moderator?
I
I
tried
thought
to
we
make
were doing that. Nope,
him
she's
or
not.
her or they or whatever.
Her, yeah, or him.
Like a moderator like 12 times now. I don't. It's just not working.
Okay.
That's harsh. That's harsh. Oh, I just got some inside information, like on my secret Discord.
Yeah.
That
I have one too.
that it's not working. It's not working on phones.
Okay.
So
That's a
I
little
so I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to make people mods.
because you only have a phone.
No, I mean I have a laptop. I don't like it. I like the comfort of having my phone in my hand and being able to like walk around and like do things and stuff. I don't like sitting in front of the computer. I've
Well, I
done a
just
lot.
sit in front of the computer all day.
Sitting in front of a computer and like it's not my favorite thing really.
That's all right. Okay, so what's our prediction for this week?
What's my prediction for this week? My prediction is that something unexpected happens and these hearings don't actually happen and everybody planning to go to them wasted all their time and then it's going to be a little bit funny.
Oh, does it rhyme with Schmeal? Beal?
I don't know I have no idea what you're getting at. What does
About
that rhyme with?
Teal?
What?
Dlee Beal?
No, not that.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't predict that before
I was
the
out of rhymes anyway, so that was really all I had
yeah.
left.
If I finally got there.
Okay, well, we have let's see here. 12 across. Landlocked country in South Africa.
It's Chad.
Oh yeah, fuck. That's why I never finish this. I forget to write it down.
Right.
Um
See, everybody's really like everybody's like, I mean, I feel like this whole case is just like, the troll isn't this person or that person. It's just this case. Like this case is trolling all of us because you think there's going to be these
Oh, for
hearings,
sure.
and there's not going to be these hearings. Like, do not get your hopes up for like, don't like make sure everything's refundable because I'm telling you, man, like you should expect for something to happen.
Yeah, what do you think is gonna happen? Uranus in retrograde? Is that why things have been kind of weird?
I don't know what that retrograde stuff is all about. Is that like astronomy, astrology, something like that?
Astrology me. Whoa, all eyes. We don't talk about them like that here.
Yeah. See, I mean, digital's kind of got it. Like, hey, the defense kind of did a rug pull on, the last set of hearings, and now it's the prosecution's turn. Like, why shouldn't they?
Yeah. Who's going? I'll see you guys there. You see me, say what's up.
Are you really going?
Yeah,
Okay. You can take some good notes.
I'm flying in. I'm flying in from Cyprus. I got a helicopter pad out there in Carroll County.
It's probably just a field or something, right? Like,
Yeah, it's just a cornfield
okay,
out
cool.
there around the way. I'm gonna land. Yeah.
I mean, people that I know that are going to be going, I think True Grit Crime. She always goes to everything. Frank Meister and Rescue All Dogs. They usually go to everything.
Rescue all dogs.
Yeah, she's nice. I like her. The Murder Sheet, like I would expect them to go, but I don't know. They kind of been flaky lately, and I don't. They got this whole focus on just like their
Yeah.
their Discord screenshot reporting like thing, and that seems to be going really well for them. So
Yeah, I think they really have. They're in a rabbit hole. Last time I heard that they brought a fax machine to the courthouse, so I think that's a lot to do. To bring a whole fax machine. So I think maybe they would want to maybe just stay in whatever the Discord is they're in or and looking through stuff. So it's worked out for them.
yeah, I mean, there was one the one time they didn't go. They relied on the notes of like two other people that went, and like they got a lot of things wrong, and, and then they like there was like a completely made up situation that like just didn't happen because like we eventually got the transcript and like no, like that wouldn't have made any sense to begin with. Like there was like some story that Judge Gull was mad at the defense team because the defense team had leaked Richard Allen's location and be like, okay, like they booked him into the Allen County Jail. Like that's not the defense team doing anything. How would that possibly be the defense team? That doesn't make any sense to begin with. But like it also didn't happen. Like I get being critical of the judge, but she's not that dumb to think that like the defense team would be responsible for that at all. That's just
Yeah.
way too fair. But like then they reported and commented on it and be like, okay, like maybe don't like cheat off somebody else's notes. Like either
Or like
go,
intercept electronic communications
yeah,
that don't belong to you that are stored on someone's
yeah,
machine.
don't do. Nobody should be doing that either. Like that's also like a maybe just like rule that one out. Just don't do it. Like you might be getting some bad information.
Oh, they got a dot matrix printer. That's nice. That is a nice setup.
Oh, I thought it was a docs matrix printer.
Oh, that's what yeah, docs.
Docs matrix. So yeah, I don't. I would guess they go to the. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that they're real reliable at this point. And then yeah, I don't know about Bob. Bob was always saying that he's going to go to this stuff. This is a big.
He's
This
been
would be a
doing it
good
for
one for
20
Bob.
years.
This would be a good one for Bob to go because I think Bob, like, has like, I mean, at least the baseline understanding of like what's going on in the courtroom. That's like really the benefit that he brings. Like, he's actually a defense attorney and actually knows, like, I could sit there and I can watch it, but like, do I really know what the fuck's going on? I mean, it's questionable.
Right.
Uh, any defense attorneys that can like actually get in there and watch the proceedings and tell us what's going on, or hell, even a prosecutor, just any attorney, like, it would be uh useful like feedback on like actually like letting us know what's really happening, because these journalists get in there too, and like they also don't know. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they're hearing. Like, they just don't know anything.
Yeah. Hopefully
And
they
and then,
just
and then they're gonna boil it down to a 2-minute clip for the evening news and be like, okay, what a useful, what a grand use of your time spending every day there all day when you don't actually even report on it.
yeah. I I remember some stuff that was being reported about the first or the last set of hearings that there were, like, the media was saying that Judge Gall was being rude or something, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, I mean, kind of, she was a little bit rude," but it like I think Dan said that she was rude, but the some of the people that were there were like, "Oh, I don't think it was that bad." And it's like, okay, is that really what the media took away from it? That the judge was in a bad
Right,
mood?
right.
Do you remember
That's
that?
your grand takeaway. Yeah, yeah, I do recall that. And it's I mean, yeah, I don't know. The media seems to have kind of dropped the ball on this whole thing.
Well, there's a lot to report about, like,
There could be, yeah, and the weird thing is that, like, up until a certain point, like, this was a popular thing to report on and like give a lot of attention to. Like, especially initially, like, there was tons of coverage on it, but like, they even throughout the years, like, they continue to do updates on this and like, you know really really talk about it, and then you get some action with like an arrest, and then at some point it just went like radio silent, and like they want to give the absolute minimum amount of coverage to this as possible, and that seems weird. That seems weird to me. Like, why would you just drop covering this huge case that you've always covered?
yeah, I
I
think
find it
that, like,
suspicious.
some of the more mainstream outlets in Indiana have and really the Midwest in general, has kind of more focused on, bites and, like, the most palatable bite that people could consume quickly and, like, get an update and not necessarily, some, you know, uh, investigative journalism that's gonna require, interviewing several parties, doing records requests, developing the story, and then putting it out in a way that's, like, verifiable. And so, uh, I just think that media in general has gotten away from that, unless it's a long form piece that they do, like, after a trial, or after somebody's been exonerated or there's been a big lawsuit, because a lot of those facts are laid out in court for them to really report on in more in depth. It's just not the case anymore, I feel like.
What do you think about this comment from Curious Contrarian? It says, because it's an open and shut case.
I mean, it's a fine comment. Some people
Do,
think
do you
that.
think this is an open and shut case?
I mean, I've heard Dan himself say otherwise, so I don't know, is it? Like, I don't know. Some people think it is, some people think it's not. I mean, it depends on what, the circumstances are. If you it's by any measure, it's going to take a few weeks.
Well, see,
And I
that's where kind of I'm at. Like, isn't the definition of a open shut case like, you like it's open and then it's shut? So like,
it's like usually a plea deal
yeah,
case.
or no, or I mean, yeah, just like a 1 day trial. Like, there's not much to it. There's tons of trials that happen in 1 day because it's open shut. I feel like a whole month-long trial doesn't sound like open shut to me, just by the definition of what open shut means. Like, it's open and then like a long period of time and then gonna be shut. So almost the exact
Oh,
opposite.
okay.
Almost the exact opposite of open shut.
Spend 40 more hours discussing the bullet.
We haven't even discussed the bullet at all today, which is, man, it's really pouring here.
What in the world? Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
It's gonna be time to shut the windows.
Hey, you could do that. Go ahead.
The problem is the cat likes to sit in the window.
What you got to do what the cat needs. Like the cat needs to be in the window. You got to maybe just crack the window a little bit.
I know, but he likes to be like in the window.
Well,
I think he's trying to get rained on. And like, he sounds so sad if I try to shut the window.
texting is a terrible way to convey a message. It's kind of an open and shut message, you know? It's just kind of a little
It
bleep.
depends on how long the message is, because like I feel like if it's like, a 1 word answer, it's an open shut text message. But if it's like 8 paragraphs long, it's the opposite of an open shut text message.
Yeah, you have a nice rain about you, about your home. That sounds like a nice rain.
It's too loud.
Is that fake rain? Did you just pipe in some rain from
Yeah, piping in rain.
Oh my god. Everyone's making they're just trying to make yourself seem serene.
Yeah, yellow jacket. He goes. He just makes this little crying sound if I try to take away his window.
I think it needs to get the fuck away from the mic. That's what I think, dude. He's
All
messing
right.
with our show.
Yeah, go to my studio instead of like
I'm
just
just kidding, dude.
wandering around and doing
I
whatever.
like a cat. I like a nice little cat. What color is the cat? Oh, well, I don't want to say color. I don't want to say ethnicity. What is the cat up here? What does the cat present at visually?
This is an orange cat. He looks like the picture.
Oh, okay. Orange. Very nice. Does it smoke cigarettes?
He does not. We've covered this previously. The the my actual cats do not smoke cigarettes because that would be unhealthy.
Can we get some cigarette cats in the chat? Like Mar R.
So you found this picture online, right?
Of course I did.
Okay, I didn't even know it existed. I mean,
I
obviously,
found it,
I
didn't
thought you
I?
created that picture or something. I didn't
Oh, they
realize.
say you can find anything if you look hard enough, my friend. And boy, do I look hard.
You just do a reverse image search, or you do like a
Eh,
yeah.
yeah, a reverse image search got some. I found another thing that uh it had the same art, but it's a different color background, and it was just a different run of that book. And then like, I found out that it was that book that you told me about, and then I went and looked through a reverse image search of the different versions of that book, and then I found a high resolution version of that book cover, and then I did a background removal, and then I put a black background on it, and so it appeared, more high detailed. Really letting you
That's
guys behind the scenes here.
very detailed.
That's true, RA does have an attorney. Yep. So what is geofencing actually? It's a I'm just I it brings me back to the video of somebody saying, what the fuck was it? Geological? It's geological. Oh, if you know, you know. Sleuthy Goosey says, "Wait, how considerate did MS take Fortin's situation when they released messages from people who are collateral damage and ultimately want to hurt? What if, yeah? I mean, there's also releasing some messages that I was told last week hurt the family. That's not that's not great. I don't know why someone would release those messages either. If it hurt
Yeah,
people,
the releasing things that like hurts. Like I feel like there's like almost like a level of discernment of like things you might say in private, but you wouldn't say in public. But then there's some people that like just put everything out in the public. Does that make sense?
he did not have an attorney when he was sent to solitary, and I'm not even sure that's an issue. I like overall, yes, it seems like an issue, but talking to some of the people in Indiana that work on those cases, unfortunately, I guess there's uh there's an exception for before somebody's been claimed as indigent that they don't have due process rights. This doesn't make sense to me, but it is an Indiana thing. And
Yeah,
somebody,
I'm not surprised that that would be it's doable to do it that way.
yeah,
Um,
it's horrible.
like I mean, it obviously it's not great to not have an attorney when like important things are happening in your case, but I'm sure
Well, especially when you can't cross-examine the allegations against you, such as there are safety issues or somebody made a threat. It's like if you had an attorney that could represent you and you knew about this meeting and the attorney was present, they could say, "Wait, what? What messages were you talking about? The threats?" "Oh, it was a Facebook, but the person like never messaged us back." So it's like, well, can you? There's nothing there, and it's gone. It's just there's nothing that they can do about going back to that day and getting his rights. That's why they filed the tort, I believe, because they're going to toll the statute of limitations on any civil issues from that if you were to be found innocent.
see. I've got good news for Arm and Productions here because Diener, uh,
Cena.
Diener did recuse himself from this case and then retired. So like he's definitely gone.
Did he retire?
Yeah, he's gone,
I
gone.
mean, he's off the
He's
bench.
in the Caribbean, dude, or something. Like he's gone.
USA libertarian. I agree, bro. If you are indeed a bro. If you're a libertarian, you're probably, you don't believe in, this side or that side. So I could see maybe not being more of a they. But I agree. It doesn't make sense to me. But uh I know you're not much of a Discord person, but if you're on Twitter, hit me up. I'll tell you what the explanation is. He didn't have an attorney. All right, what attorney did he have? Just say the attorney's name and when they were appointed. Like
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to like give simple answers to like some things.
it's out there. Like it's yeah, like Big Fish said, the Google. The Google has it. It's in there. It's in the cloud.
It should be.
Didn't some guy take his place? Didn't some guy take his place? I think that guy's running for VP, but I don't know.
JD Vance. You're saying JD Vance took
No,
Benji?
I'm saying Shane Evans is gonna run with Kamala Harris.
Oh,
Kamala,
I mean,
Kamala.
I don't know.
Just
He,
say
he
his
ran as
attorney's
when he
name.
ran for mayor. He ran as an independent, right? Do you know anything about that?
Wasn't he 19? Well, I mean, what is your
Yeah,
political views
yeah,
at
yes,
19?
yes, he
Dude,
was.
weed is fucking sick, man. That's my political view. Like,
Dude, that could be popular in some places, you know.
is marijuana illegal in Indiana?
Marijuana is highly illegal in marijuana in Indiana. In marijuana is illegal in marijuana, bro. Uh,
That is fucking wild.
it's mostly decriminalized in Marion County, which is Indianapolis. So like, they don't really like for small amounts. They like I think they might ticket it or something now, but most everywhere
That's
else,
nice.
it's still the crime it always was. So yeah, follow. Don't do drugs and follow your local laws, everybody.
So I know this. I caused some confusion with that, but if you look up the attorney he had, I mean, you can't look it up because he didn't have one, but you can look up when his attorneys did get assigned to him. But I was so confident that there would be a due process issue with this, and that I was just absolutely shocked. And I think the issue is that hearing, like whether or not, because like he could have hired or got somebody to go to the hearing or something like that, and so technically, um, I don't fucking know, dude.
I
I can
mean,
give you the explanation I
he
have.
got did dirty as far as like the attorney situation, but I mean, they were still within the parameters of it. Like they didn't necessarily do anything wrong. Like it's like morally wrong probably to do it, but it's not like you can get away with it because you didn't technically do anything wrong.
Well, so and morally speaking, like to take issue with something else is like take everything you know about this case out of it. Say you have a defendant and they're presented before a judge. The judge makes a decision to put them in solitary confinement, which is a punishment for prisoners. Okay? Prisoners go to the shoe. People that have been determined to have committed a serious felony in the state of Indiana, they go and they do bad things in prison, they go to the shoe. They decided he was going to go to the shoe and then he recused himself.
Right.
It's
That's
just
it's a weird situation, and yeah, like it should definitely be under scrutiny. Yeah, I'm not saying that. Like, it definitely should be. I think you're limited in the scope of like what you can do about it.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of shitty. Like they 100% knew this guy was going to need an attorney. Like, and like, and, but they waited until they had already put him in prison. And he's already in like the worst conditions possible. And he had to write a letter saying, "Yo, I like help. I need an attorney." Like, no shit, he needs an attorney. Like, he doesn't have to tell you he needs an attorney. You know he needs an attorney. Like like what are you fucking what do you fuck you think? This guy's not gonna need an attorney? Like look at what you're charging him with. He's
I
attorney.
mean, he was charged
Tell this
with
guy, like,
2
hey man, you need to get an attorney right now. If you can't get an attorney right now, like you're gonna need a public defender, like right now. Like there's not like some some situation where you're like just gonna like scrape by without an attorney.
well,
And
so
he didn't.
he got charged with 2 life without parole charges. Well, actually 4, right? Because there's 2 felony murders, 2 kidnappings, which I think both carry the possibility of life without parole. So, they knew that he had the right to 2 attorneys. He had the right under the Indiana law to have 2 attorneys appointed to him at $100 an hour. And because of his indigency, he was not going to be able to afford that. And the reason they do that is because they need to have a proper defense, because if not, this case will hang around for decades and destroy any sense of finality for the case, because they're going to be back on appeal every couple of years, either federally or locally through the state, um, to every appellate court, and just drain a ton of money because of these issues. So they should have known from the beginning, and then that's why Gold didn't fight it. She just said, "Yep, we'll appoint you 2 attorneys. Here you go." And they weren't public defenders. They didn't work for the public defender's office. They are court appointed public defenders. Um, and so, that has a different.
Oh yeah, I know like a lot of people don't like Gull, and like I think there is a lot of reason to not like her, but like I think that like one decision that she made in this case is like highly commendable as far as the initial research and hiring of these two defense attorneys. Like there seemed to be like a really like thoughtful and vetting process of getting like two people that were highly competent and able to like do what needed to be done in this case. And like she's responsible for that. She's the one that hired him. Like I know that she kind of doubled back on that and changed her mind about it. And then when she replaced replaced the attorneys, she didn't do the same sort of process at all. She just picked two local guys that she was familiar with that were like just regular old public defenders, which like a lot of people, like there's a lot of legal
Well,
questioning
there's I
of that process. The public defenders council is like, you didn't follow the process here. You just picked these guys like you
well,
weren't supposed to do.
The Carroll County Public Defender, there's no way that would. The reason you don't put a public defender in that situation is because you have this huge caseload of felonies that they're working, and to give them a double murder trial, you would back up all your normal caseloads or your normal felony trials, and that's something the prosecutor doesn't have the luxury of getting away from. But that's why sometimes there's special prosecutors. But like people have said here, like R&M said, Pat Monahan, he presented an award before to Nick McClelland or vice versa. I can't remember, but yeah, like having the public defender in the county for a double life without parole trial, it seems like a court would be well, well, well within their criteria to select people from outside of the county.
Right. Yes. That's 100% correct, and that's why the public defenders council took issue when the attorneys were removed and she appointed new public defenders and Scrummon and Librato. Like, she just kind of unilaterally did that, and they took issue with it, as they should have.
Who took issue with that?
The public defenders council.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
believe they
because there's
filed something.
nothing to investigate. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's curious. Contrarian says these aren't regular public defenders, which is exactly what we just said. Exactly what we just said. These are not regular old public defenders. These are highly vetted individuals, like specifically handpicked for this case after like a actual process.
Well, so like a lot of people have said something about how these whether or not they're death penalty certified or not, but also like they have to be paid in the beginning from that rate. That $100 an hour is the acceptable rate for a contracted defense attorney to provide public defender services for a charge that in a case where they're seeking life without parole. So like they would have to, if they decided to go back and like say that they were going to charge him with or seek the death penalty, they would have to change the rate at which both these attorneys were paid for the trial. And then like they were being paid less money so they can get less resources. The whole work up to the trial itself, it's like it just doesn't make sense that they would go and charge the death penalty now. That's not
Yeah,
really how.
it wouldn't make sense now, but I mean but that's also just a weird situation because you'd think that the death penalty would be charged in this type of a case, but they didn't even charge him with like regular murder initially. That took a long time before they amended charges. they did it the day of the Supreme Court hearing, which is also a little bit weird.
Yeah. Well, I
Right?
have a theory behind that,
You have a theory
but
behind it? I
I
think
did.
it's PR.
Yeah, I think it was a race in a way too, just in case it would have changed. It's a theory that I had that was debunked by other actions in my head. So I did have a theory, and I proved it wrong by just changing my ideas.
That happens to me a lot. What was the theory? R&M wants to hear the theory. We want to hear the whole story about your theory.
Okay, so my theory was that when they originally charged them the way they did with him with a felony murder with accomplice liability, that they were saying that he was a co-conspirator in a felony murder, which you don't necessarily need to be a co-conspirator in the final charge. You don't necessarily need to have motive or like a continuance of your actions that contribute to the death. And so I think that when Latrell came on, he was like, "Oh, wow, like I wouldn't have charged it this way." And because of that, they couldn't change it because they were very close to trial and they had developed the case thus far to attack, to charge him that way and then to prove the case that way. And then eventually, once they found out more information through the leaks and other information, they realized, and through Latrell, they realized that maybe it was more appropriate to charge him a different way, and they had more time because of them being removed to analyze which charges were best, and then they changed them. There was a lot of like, the media said they ran on this. We talked about this too, Fiend. That people were saying that the statute of limitations ran on kidnapping, and that's why they changed it.
Right, that's not why they changed it.
Yeah, so it's strange. That was my theory, but I talked to some people and relooked I looked more at what they were saying too, and I think that looking at some of the other cases in that area with felony murder and accomplice liability, especially kidnapping cases, that I think in the end, Latrell was just like, "You should maybe not charge it that way, my guy." It's really a convoluted theory. It
It,
is what
I
it
don't know, I
is.
mean, there does seem. I mean, I think that like the. I mean, just logically looking at it, like there wasn't any reason they had to take the kidnapping cases off, except that they just don't want that to be an option, which seems to indicate that like there's a range. They thought there were a range of options as far as like how involved the defendant is in this case, and that it could range from as little as kidnapping or to you know eventually as much as murder, which seems to like suggest that they don't have like in mind a very specific theory of exactly what actions this defendant took, and they've been very light with ever describing what actions were actually taken. Like,
Right.
it's pretty basic stuff to put in a PCA that what you think the defendant did. That and then he shot somebody or he stabbed somebody, but like they've never gone that far to say like what they think he like the physical actions that he took. They've just never said it. And like the most they've kind of gone, and it took a long while. I think it's very like loose language, as being like he was in the woods at the same time the victims were in the woods. Like, okay, that's very like, was he with them or like was he in one place and they're in another place and they just both happen to be in the woods? Like, what is the woods? Is the woods like the whole area? Is Is it like a specific area that you're talking about? Like, what are you actually talking about here? Um, but in a more recent filing, they did finally state that like they think that, and again, this language is just weird because they finally said that they thought Richard Allen is BG, which is a weird thing to put in like an official filing. Like
If you haven't said it before, especially.
if you haven't said it before, or BG or Bridge Guy, but whichever one they said, but like the that's a weird in an official filing referring to somebody as BG or Bridge Guy. Like, okay, like what are you doing here? Like, it feels like you're playing to like a media narrative of like nicknames for like the suspect in the case. Like, that's not like an official way to refer to anything.
Oh yeah,
It's weird.
R&M
Weird way to say it.
R&M sent me this clip I had never seen before that Doug Carter on a in an interview, they said, "Was there eyewitnesses that seen him?" He said no. I don't they're just gonna say it's investigative strategy or something, but, like,
I
I thought
recall
that
seeing
was really
that.
fucking
I've
weird.
seen that a few times where he says that no to that question, and that seems odd and seems like to be contradictory to like what they're trying to state now. That like people did see whoever it was, and whoever it was Richard Allen. Like that seems to be like a huge part of their case is like connecting that like he is him and people did see him, and like this is how our like timeline and matches up. But like it's weird to like previously made public statements that are the exact opposite of that.
So, Luis asks, "Why was RA arrested?" My favorite answer to that question is, "Well, the judge signed the probable cause affidavit."
And my favorite answer to that is that like never seen a judge's signature on a probable cause affidavit. Still, nobody's seen it.
I
That
always thought that was so
that that
weird.
that last page isn't signed.
Just Carter saying that when he was asked about it, like, "Do you think he's bridge guy?" And then Carter's like, "Well, the judge signed the probable cause affidavit." It's like, you guys haven't even put it out yet, but, like, okay. I'm just asking you, like, do you think it is him? We get that the judge signed it,
No, I don't. That's you're not listening to me, DB. I don't get that the judge signed it because if the judge signed it, I'd be able to see the signature of a judge on the probable cause affidavit, and not a single soul has seen that.
but there's an explanation that was, like, in another packet and that he signed off on the full packet, but yeah, I agree, it's still weird. Or, like, the packet that they used that they put into CCS was a version that had the whole packet signed off on, and they, like, uploaded their but, like, why wouldn't they have gone back and fixed that? I don't know, it's weird.
There is on the docket. There is a specific like entry of the redacted PCA being filed, and that is the one that is not signed, and that is the one that you know, they released to the public. But it's a weird like the signature isn't redacted. The signature just isn't there. Like that page isn't signed, and like it's weird that like there's no reason to not show the signature. Like that's not nothing that needs to be redacted.
Is there a schedule for Tuesday?
Is there a schedule? No, they kind of fly by the seat of their pants with that stuff. I mean, they get in there and then the judge kind of just like be like, "We're gonna do it this, and this. Is that cool?" And then they'll ask everybody and see if they're amenable to like what she's suggesting, or or they'll make a request that they want to do this first, and they'll either object to it or agree to it. I don't know what order they're gonna do any of this stuff in. I don't think anybody knows until they actually get there in court and just start working on it.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, I think the witnesses are gonna be able to testify to what they believe an individual wore, but, man, the thing about not having cameras, man, it's just not being able to watch the cross-examination of the eyewitnesses.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like leaning towards not going, but there is just like so much like granular stuff like that you're never gonna get without actually putting your own eyeballs on it. Which so that's kind of my argument for having cameras so that people can actually just like actually put their eyeballs on it, like and their constitutional rights they're tied into this being allowed to do that, and for a defendant and his trial being public and like is it really public? Is it really public if the cameras aren't there?
Yeah, what was that about? You asked that question the other day, to somebody, and they sent you a GIF, but
Yeah.
I was
Well,
wondering that is a good point, like, today's day and age, what does observing a trial or having your trial observed by the public mean?
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, these courthouses, like, they're usually these old buildings, like, yeah, and you look at what the population was in past years, like, there's a lot more people. There's a lot more people interested in this that actually want to watch this. And, like, are we just saying that doesn't mean anything? Like, we're just gonna be like, yeah, too bad. Like, there's only like 20 seats. So what are we gonna do? Well, I mean, you have an easy solution for what you can do. You just slap a camera in there, and then everybody can just watch it, and it's open for people, and you're not really like skirting those constitutional rights like that belong to either a defendant or to any individual that wants to witness this.
Yeah, I wanna witness
I
it.
don't know.
I'm gonna be there.
I don't get the against cameras thing. I just think it's like a little bit archaic and just thinking of like what like was this a fine situation like 200 years ago? Sure, yeah. Like you have these tiny small towns and like everybody that wanted to go to the trials could get in, and like there wasn't media, there wasn't TV, there wasn't social media. Like they nobody like unless you heard about it by word of mouth, and like or you had a vested interest in actually witnessing it. Like yeah, people weren't even interested, and but or they were, and there's probably like enough room for people that wanted to go to actually go. Like you just don't have that situation. Like you probably got like 100 people that are gonna want to be inside the courtroom that aren't gonna be able to be in there, and more than that if like it was more open, like for this actual trial, like given that it's not on TV, like if you had like 1,000 people capacity, you might fill that. Like at what point do you just make it accessible? I mean, I think it's this point. Like you make it accessible because there's enough interest, obviously, and like people would like to see it.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. It's like when you have the right have have the public bear witness to your trial, I think that as people as many people that want to bear witness, they should be allowed to.
Right. It's kind of like where I'm coming from on it, and I mean, like I think like, hey, if there's like if you really trusted like journalists to go in there and like fully report on what happened, maybe that's an acceptable trade-off, but like I don't think that we're I don't think we're there, like, and definitely not in this case. Like I don't expect like not like picking on anybody, but like WRTV or Wish TV to go in there and put a reporter in there and like get the full story of what happened in that room. Like you're definitely not going to get that. That's absolutely ridiculous to think that you're going to get the full like details. Like they're going to boil it down to a 2-minute fucking clip for the evening news that you're
Yeah.
not going to hear what happened in that courtroom. So like that's not like that's not the equivalent of like it being open and like you being able to witness like this trial and his right for it to be public. Because sure, if they did like a detailed breakdown of every single thing that happened in that courtroom, that would be great, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So it's not really public, it's like private with like some highlights.
I'm a courtroom with 10
This,
open
this
seats.
is what I'm saying with what RM says. A quorum 10
Yeah.
public seats is not. It's not a public trial. It's not a fucking public trial. Don't pretend it's a public trial. If you want to be a public trial, slap some cameras in there and like make it public.
Who should we have holding the camera if we were? I think Four Pits, dude. And he could like walk
I,
around like streaming it from his phone during the trial. That'd be fucking sick, dude.
I second that. I'm totally cool. You can just have him do it on a fucking iPhone. Like, just I'm see, Big Fish is not paying attention. Like I'm trying to like go to the chat and make people mods, and it doesn't work. And on my secret Discord, I was told um, that if you try to do
It's
this
this.
from an iPhone, it's not going to work. And I would tend to agree with that because I keep
Well,
on
we have a secret Discord
everybody
for this
clicking on
show.
everybody's name and making them mods, but they don't become a mod.
Yeah,
So I would say it's not working.
but we do have a secret Discord for just this show. So get with me if you want to be in the secret Discord. Oh, you are in Discord. You friends on Discord.
Nice.
We got some mods
That
in here.
might
We'll get
if you're serious, that might not actually be me. It might be someone pretending to be me.
yeah, the Discord's called Community College. Damn, dude. Been there.
I agree with Yellow Jacket. I just want like something like insane. Like, hey man, my hands shake a lot. I drink. I consume a lot of caffeine, and like it's probably not
That's
okay.
good for you.
It's probably not, but like I don't know what to do about it because like I have to have it. But yeah, if I tried to film it like on my phone, oh, like you see, this is the problem. You can't bring your phone in. I don't know, but yeah, give me a camcorder. It'll be shaky as fuck.
Oh yeah, I think the Four Pits with a chest rig or a GoPro, dude, it would be fucking hilarious.
Bro, yes.
He just gets up close on all the.
I'm for it. I'm totally for that.
Yeah, he's on the ground, dude. He's
Right,
in the mix.
right.
I like it.
Oh,
Nobody's comparing McClellan to a murderer. Yeah, that's true. We're not. I mean, it's pretty basic. If you wanna be in my Discord, Carter Brown, she to be in our Discord.
I
Which
mean,
she already is.
it's something like for a short time I started like drinking Monsters a lot, and like I would not recommend.
Not surprising.
I'd not recommend doing that.
I drink vape juice.
What flavor?
Cotton candy, a boo boo kitty fuck bunny. I think that's a vape flavor, isn't it? I don't vape. Can you tell?
Cotton candy open
Can
carry.
you tell? Can you tell? What is up with all the vaping these days, huh? What's up with that? Hey,
I don't know.
hey,
Yeah,
Bean, what's your opinion on
I thought it was a
vaping?
millennial thing, but now I think it's a millennial and it's a true crime thing.
You know who's really discriminated against these days? Smokers. Why are smokers not allowed to smoke on the train, but you can vape on the train? You really can't vape on the train, my bad, but you get my point. Let's
I mean,
bring it back
you
around
can
for
probably get away
smokers.
with vaping in a lot of
They've
places.
sacrificed a lot.
I'm gonna be honest with you and say it's probably the secondhand smoke thing that's like the big nail in the coffin there. Like literally.
I'd rather get secondhand smoke than secondhand cotton candy smell. Actually,
I
I
think
grew up
like
on secondhand smoke, dude. That's like my
for
thing.
health reasons, I think you're probably better off with the secondhand smells rather than the secondhand smoke.
But okay. Well, I'll look into it. I'm really more of an analyze,
I think people have looked.
analyze
I think
things.
people have looked into
I like
like
to
the
look at the
secondhand
charts.
the smoke stuff, and like it's not good.
They've looked at it?
I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah.
Is that Purdue Pharma that told you that?
No, but now the secondhand vape stuff, or even the firsthand vape stuff, I don't think it's been. I don't think that's been studied at all. So who knows? Like these people are going to turn into like reptilians in like 5 years. Watch.
The reptiles. Yeah. Thank God I don't know how to read. Is Fiend gone?
Reading's overrated.
We gotta get Kyra in here. Kyra's got a really good southern accent. She could do a welfare queen really good.
Yeah, no. See, I did the first live, and like somebody like started sharing like the invites all around, and then like we got some riffraff in here.
We got riffraff in here. Well, riffraff's going to occur. There was 45 people, which is just fucking insane to me. Um,
Dan's not reading the banner.
yeah, that's okay.
Man, these people just like you can tell them it's a psyop, then they don't believe it when you tell them the truth. This is a psyop. I got all these people think that I'm on Discord. Very these true crime people. They are see big fish is actually the psyop. You these conspiratorial people, they're always right. If they believe I'm on Discord, then I'm on Discord. It doesn't matter what the
Right.
reality of the situation is.
It might not even be you.
If you believe in something hard enough, like it'll just be true.
I don't even think people believe in it. They just repeat it. They go, I don't know. Well, oh, this podcast said that. I don't really like them, but here's what they said. I don't believe them, but I'm just going to tell somebody else what they said. And then they're going to be like, oh, they said that. It's like, if you don't actually, if you're not specific, like, how are people going to tell you or like actually give you an idea of why they feel some way?
I am not following what you were saying at all.
Me either. It's a psyop. There's group chats in all kinds of places. I got a new group chat on Roblox. Damn.
Did you say Roblox?
Yeah, dude, I go hard on Roblox, man.
Oh Lord, dude.
I'm kidding. You don't want to be on there.
That's sus AF, dude.
Yeah, dude. Anyways, where's my crossword puzzle at? Let me see.
Yeah,
Where'd it
let's
go?
do a crossword and maybe wrap this up. Unless you want to keep going, it's up to you.
No,
Or we can do we can do a 3-hour crossover if you just want to.
No, I don't want to keep going. Everyone that was mean to me in chat really hurt my feelings, and I want to go.
Okay. Why don't we get on the secret Discord and like plot vengeance against them?
Yeah, why not?
Exactly. Why not? Why not?
What's our vengeance gonna be? Subtweeting?
Yeah, that's probably the best type of vengeance. Yeah. So everybody should while DB works on his crossword here, everybody should go find my Discord group and join it. We can build a community, and
and you're gonna get your packet.
it'll be fun.
Yep, you just have to lick the envelope that you send back to us, and you have to give us like 3 milligrams of earwax.
No, that's too weird, man. But yeah, go.
You gotta test it.
The Electric Weircat Truther Network Discord. It may be under a different name, but you'll figure it out if you think about it long enough. But yeah, that secret Discord is where I go to talk shit about the murder sheet very specifically. So, I welcome them as well. They're allowed to join the Discord. It's completely open for them.
Dude, turn this shit off. Let's go.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Peace.
Join the Discord. Peace.